Hi gang, Rob here. It's the evening of February 2016, and I've got a video from the Sharpening Bench for you guys tonight. And thank you for watching, by the way. And welcome to you first timers. You might have found this video on Google or some other search engine looking for this particular knife. Welcome to the channel. Please feel free to subscribe. We should see 2 or 3 new videos per week, usually knife related. Sometimes I'll sprinkle in a little bit of the gospel. But for tonight, we're looking at the Andre de Villers Hummer. The ADV Hummer. This one obviously made in 2015. Oh, guys. I just don't know if looking at this by itself on camera can really do it justice. So here it is next to a large Sebenza, which doesn't look very large. Let's see if we can orient these in another way. I'll put them sort of front of the handle to front of the handle, diagonally. It dwarfs the Sebenza. Of course, the Sebenza is not a huge knife, but this thing is an unbelievable tank. And you guys know, if you watched my overbuilt folders rant video, that this is a knife I am just plain never gonna buy. It's just never gonna happen. It's huge. What we've got here is a very highly stylized sort of bayonet ground blade, 176 thousandths or 4.5 millimeters thick, fashioned of CPM S35 VN steel, with a monstrous flat big rib running down the length of the blade all the way out to here. 4 1/8 inches long, if I didn't mention it already. The handle length 5 3/8 inches. So what does that give you total? A 9.5 inch overall length folding knife. The handle a full 5/8 of an inch thick. It is a titanium frame lock with a steel lock interface insert that also doubles as an over travel stop. I think you can actually see that as you look right there in the slot. Typical Andre de Villers sort of design and execution, I think, on this knife. It is sort of a tritone titanium, a very dark blast in the recesses. The flats are a nicely finished satin, and then around the edges of the frame slabs, almost a mirror polish. Very cool. On the blade, we have a little crowning at the front of the flipper tab, which is kind of cool. And it is vertical satin in the hollow grind of the blade and the swedge, which is also hollow ground. And then a horizontal satin on the flats. A very nice run of jimping and an oval hole. I'm not quite sure what that thing does. I guess you could maybe open it with that. No, not with the right hand, very easy. Oh, big old detent. Don't think you're going to do that too many times. It is a flipper deployed knife on ball bearings with that Andre de Villers interesting micro adjustable pivot. So you can adjust tension without affecting centering, I guess is the thinking on that. And there's a lot of tension on that pivot. Even with ball bearings. It flips great. But you don't really want this blade, I think, freely falling into the blade well. You really don't. It could probably just shear a finger doing that. Pocket clip is a machined billet titanium clip. Works well. I'm not sure this is ever a carry knife. Maybe it is, but this came in the latest shipment from my customer Scott, who as you guys have heard me say, is probably my highest volume customer, and he sends me some pretty weird stuff. Weird in a good way. Let's talk about since this is a From the Sharpening Bench video, let's kind of talk about the edge a minute. And guys, I realize, before we get into this is a collectible custom. This is probably desk jewelry. This is not a carry knife, although it probably falls into the tactical folder class. But it's not a user. It's a piece of mechanical functional sculpture. But it was super thick at the edge. I don't know at what angle it was ground from the factory. It looked like it was fairly symmetrical, meaning both edge bevels, right and left, were about the same width from the factory. But it was probably 45 degrees inclusive, and it was probably 25 on one side and 20 on the other. So it took a lot of work to get to where you see it right now. It's 18 degrees per side with a little tiny 21 degree micro bevel. And it was not fun. It just was not fun. This S35 is heat treated, I would say probably to 60 to 61 RC. Not easy at the more elevated grits to get my scratch pattern squared away from the last grit. It was a beast to sharpen. You're going to notice here at the base of the edge, on all ADV knives, there is a choil, and it's round. So it's almost like it was drilled and then the knife cut away. You'll notice my choil is, it's like half of an ellipse. I had to enlarge it quite a bit to clear a swoopy plunge grind, especially since the edge bevel definitely got broadened out a little bit so it would actually cut. And it doesn't look overly broad, I don't think. I just needed some room in the back, and the choil mod came out pretty good. Let's see if this thing cuts, because it sure did not before. The 8.4 ounce behemoth, over half a pound of knife. Look at that. How's that? I was only on the stones for about an hour and a half, and about another half an hour on the strops. But yeah, it got personal. It really did. I hated it, every minute of it. But you know, the typical to what we see from Andre. Just a very, very well made knife. I am not. I'm not going to buy one of these. I am not wild about the design. I'm not wild about the size, the thickness, the shape of the blade. Not my style. None of it. But it is a super well-made knife for what it is. And if your eye as a consumer or a collector jives with Andre's design eye, you're going to be happy to have one of these, because the manufacturer is executed superbly. It's just over the top. We have these dark blasted recesses. This one even stepped, at the sort of bottom pommel area of the knife. And then, so you've got 1, 2, 3 different finishes on the titanium and carbon fiber inserts. If you were going to actually use the knife, some pretty effective jimping on the not quite a thumb ramp of the blade. Even back on the spine of the handle, we have jimping that holds the thumb nicely, but it's recessed in the handle, so when you're flipping the knife, it doesn't snag your index finger at all. Super comfortable knife to deploy. There is sort of a gear pattern or jimping on the back spacer, which is almost it's just a stonewashed titanium, I guess. So there's another finish. So 1, 2, 3, 4 with the carbon fiber and 5 with the stonewash on the backspace are different finishes on this knife. But it seems to all work together, and you know, if you're actually using the knife in a tactical roll, that because it's well over 5-inch handle, this is where your thumb would be in reverse grip, right on that jimping. It's good. And it's a great flipper. Man, the blade just weighs a ton. You just get it going and out she flies. I'm just laughing because it's such an over-the-top knife. Andre, as most of you guys know, is South African, but this is kind of like it's like a customized '68 Dodge Charger Hemi of a knife. And well, Andre knows his market. Most of it is American. It's a Hummer. I mean, this is a H1 6.5 turbo diesel, central inflation, central braking, 9-foot wide Hummer. That's what it is. Great name for this knife, I gotta say. Of course, because of its finishing, this would be the consumer H1 version, with blinged out chrome 22s and neon underbody lighting and a system. A vehicle I would never buy inspires a knife I would never buy. But I know some of you guys are going to think it's cool. I didn't even look how much these cost, because I don't care, but I bet you do. And if you're in the market for a knife like this, this is a good one. It really is. And it actually cuts after it tortured me for a couple hours. That's all for this one, my friends. Grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. And remember the word and the Andre de Villers. Hama, or sharp.